When I took the night shift at the abandoned Mercy Hill Hospital, they told me the job was easy. Just sit in the control room, watch the cameras, and follow 3 simple rules. Rule 1. Never look directly at the patients you might see wandering the halls. Rule 2. If you hear someone calling your name, do not answer. And Rule 3. Never, under any circumstances, step onto the 6th floor. I thought it was a joke, but on my second night, I realized those rules weren't made to protect the hospital. They were made to protect me. I wasn't looking for a night shift job, but when the factory I worked at shut down, I had no choice. Rent was late, my fridge was nearly empty, and the bills weren't going to pay themselves. That's when I saw the ad. Security guard needed. Mercy Hill Hospital, 25 HR night shift only. It sounded too good to be true. The hospital had been shut down for over 30 years, sitting like a rotting carcass on the edge of town. Everyone knew the stories. Patients who went missing, doctors who experimented on people, nurses who walked out screaming and never came back. But I told myself, stories were just stories. Money was real. When I called the number, a man answered in a flat, emotionless voice. He told me to come for an interview that same night. I almost hung up, but desperation pushed me forward. The man who met me was tall, pale, and dressed in an old security uniform. His badge had no name. He led me to a cramped office inside the hospital. Dust clung to everything, yet the lights worked perfectly, buzzing overhead. "There are 3 rules," he said, sliding a piece of paper across the table. I picked it up. The paper was yellowed, like it had been sitting there for decades. The rules were handwritten. Do not look directly at the patients. If you hear someone call your name, do not respond. Never step onto the 6th floor. I laughed nervously. Patients? The place has been abandoned for 30 years. The man didn't laugh. They don't stay gone. Something in his eyes made me freeze. I wanted to ask questions, but he shoved a set of keys into my hand and told me my shift started at midnight. "Survive until morning," he said. "Then we'll talk." At midnight, the place felt like it was holding its breath. The control room had a wall of old monitors showing every hallway. The cameras shouldn't have worked, but they did. Grainy, flickering, but clear enough. For the first hour, nothing happened. Just silence and static. Then, at 1:12 a.m., I saw movement. On camera 4, a figure in a hospital gown shuffled down the East Wing hallway, their head tilted at an unnatural angle, twitching as though bones were grinding. I told myself it was a glitch, just interference. But when the figure stopped and turned toward the camera, I felt my chest tighten. Even through static, I knew it was looking at me. I remembered Rule 1. Don't look at the patients. I forced my eyes away. My hands were shaking. For the rest of the night, I stared at the clock, begging for dawn. The second night was worse. At 2:03 a.m., while I was watching the monitors, I heard it, someone whispering my name. Daniel. It was faint, distant, but clear. I froze. The voice sounded like my mother's. She's been dead for years. "Daniel, come here. Help me." Every instinct told me to answer. My throat burned with the urge to say something. But I remembered Rule 2. Do not respond. I clamped my hand over my mouth, shaking. The whisper grew louder, angrier. "Daniel, answer me." The lights flickered. The monitors fuzzed into static. And then, silence. I sat there trembling until sunrise. By the 3rd night, I was ready to quit. But when I went to tell the supervisor, he wasn't there. Nobody was. The hospital was empty, yet the doors were locked from the outside. I was trapped. That night, at 3:15 a.m., one of the monitors changed. Camera 12. It showed an elevator. Doctor opening. The screen flickered, and for the first time, I saw the 6th floor. It shouldn't have been possible. The building was condemned above the 5th. But the feed showed a long black hallway lined with doors. Every door was marked with a numb room, and from behind those doors, I heard knocking, slow, heavy, inhuman. My radio crackled, though I hadn't touched it. A voice whispered, "Come upstairs, we've been waiting." By the 4th night, I couldn't take it anymore. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow stretched too long. I hadn't slept properly since the job began. At 4 a.m., the power in the control room shut off. All the monitors went black. The only light came from the hallway outside, flickering dimly. That's when I heard footsteps. They were slow, dragging, like someone was pulling broken legs across tile. I pressed myself against the wall, heart hammering. The footsteps stopped at the doorway. I didn't look. I couldn't. Then I heard it. The same voice as before. My mother's voice. "Daniel, look at me." I squeezed my eyes shut. Tears burned down my face. The air grew colder. My skin prickled. I knew something was standing inches away from me, but I didn't move. When I opened my eyes again, it was gone. By the 5th night, I understood the truth. The hospital wasn't abandoned. Not really. The patients never left. The doctors never stopped. This place was a cage, not for me, but for them. And the rules weren't to protect the building. They were to protect whoever got stuck working here. I tried to quit, but the doors were sealed. The windows bricked over. My phone had no signal. The hospital wanted me here. And on that 5th night at exactly 3:33 a.m., the elevator opened on its own. The doors slid apart with a rusty groan, and I saw the button for the 6th floor glowing red. Inside the room, a dozen figures sat in hospital beds. Their faces were covered with masks, tubes snaking into their arms. Doctors in shadow moved around them, adjusting machines that hummed with life. When they turned toward me, I realized they had no faces, just blank, smooth skin. One of them stepped forward and pressed a hand to my chest. "You broke the rules," it whispered, though it had no mouth. And then I saw it, the real list of rules. Scratched into the wall behind the beds. There weren't 3 rules, there were 4. The 4th read, Rule 4, never take the job. The world went white. I woke up back in the control room, gasping for air. The clock read 12:01 a.m. It was the 1st night again. The monitors flickered, and on camera 4, a figure in a hospital gown shuffled down the hallway. The rules were still on the desk. Do not look directly at the patients. If you hear someone call your name, do not respond. Never step onto the 6th floor. Never take the job. I should have walked away. But now I know the truth. Mercy Hill doesn't let you quit. It doesn't let you leave. Once you've stepped inside, you don't work the night shift. You live it forever.